So, Melissa, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know you're extremely busy, and I really appreciate your time. So, first of all, maybe tell us, you were born in Kelowna, but you moved away, and then you moved back to Kelowna. Tell us about that. How did you come to leave, and then how did you end up back here?
Thank you for having me on the show. So I grew up in Kelowna, and I actually went to university here, did a fine arts degree, and then moved to Vancouver to continue pursuing photography.
Wow.
So I was down there for about 10 years. That's where I met my husband and partner, and we loved Vancouver. It was great. We were young, mid-20s, and we're having a great time. But we kept talking. We're like, eventually we want to move up to the Okanagan, so moving back for me. And then at one point we're like, why wait? If we want to do this, let's do it, and let's pursue our businesses and get up to the Okanagan. So we moved back in 2009.
Wow.
And really, you know what, I'm really enjoying being back in Kelowna and appreciating it in a whole new way. When I was growing up here, I took everything for granted because it's where I grew up.
Right.
And I love being back in the Okanagan with the lake and the sun, and it's just amazing.
So you are a professional photographer, and I've seen some of your work, and you've done some shots of my children, which are amazing. By the way, I haven't had a chance to tell you yet. You mentioned in your bio that you were into photography from a very young age. Do you remember the time when you said you could do this for a living? Mm-hmm. When you said to yourself, like, I want to be in this business?
Photography was always part of my life. I always loved it. My parents were super supportive. They bought me a little camera when I was young, let me play. My dad's family is the type of family that likes to document everything. Right. So I kind of grew up in that environment. In high school, I really wanted to pursue it more, but more in terms of the art side of things. So my dad bought me my first manual Pentax K-1000, very classic camera, wow. Whole set of lenses. A friend of mine and I forced our art teacher to teach us photography because he was teaching whatever was planned in his curriculum. And we're like, no, we want to learn photography. And then I pursued that in university, and it wasn't until the end of university that I wanted to pursue it as a professional photographer. Wow. It was always, before that, it was always just part of who I was and part of my art practice. Mm-hmm. But then as university was ending, I'm like, nope, I want to continue. I want to be a professional photographer. And I had some convincing because I needed some more student loans. Right. Yeah, and my dad, again, my family's very supportive, and my dad, he wanted me to prove that I could make money mm-hmm. being a photographer. And so basically kind of started my first business plan at that time.
Nice.
Yeah.
How old were you at the time, and what did you learn from creating a business plan for the first time?
So I was finishing university. I finished university a little bit late. So probably 23, 24. I learned a lot quite quickly about figuring out how I'm going to make the money, how I'm going to pay back student loans, how to start finding clients. And yeah, I need to thank my dad for kind of pushing that element of it, because otherwise before I was very, I'm going to be a famous artist and I don't have to do anything to have that happen. But then reality hit. Wow. That, there's some work involved.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us a little bit of what it's like being a new business owner and the challenges that entails? Because I know we have a lot of listeners that work in corporate environments, and they've got a dream to start a business, whatever it is, you know. So a business plan is crucial, as I've learned the hard way. So what was that like? Tell us some of the challenges you face as a new entrepreneur.
So many. Where do I start? I think it's a balance between challenges and excitement and so much. I think the biggest challenge is finding your clients. Mm. Like you can have this great business, but if you don't have people coming in the door, then nothing's happening. The biggest thing is just meeting people, talking to people. I would say 99% of our business is all referrals. Wow. And so it's really about knowing people and talking to people. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of personal transformation stories. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if you would care to share a story about yourself from younger days that if we heard it, if someone was just getting to know you today, they'd be surprised to hear it. Some way that you've changed significantly.
I was thinking about that. And yeah, it's a tough one. But one thing that came to mind, and funny enough, I kind of brought it up as my transition of becoming a professional photographer, is in university, I had a university boyfriend, and we broke up. And I think that breakup pushed me to pursue photography, pursue being an entrepreneur, to pursue being more of who I am. I think before that, I think I was just kind of going with the flow of life. I was allowing more things to happen. And I think when that happened, I'm like, nope, I'm going to make some decisions, and these are the directions I want to go into. And I think it really forced me to discover who I am and what kind of life I want to lead.
Right. So if you could go in a time machine and advise your younger self, would you, in order to speed up time, because some things we have to learn the slow way or the hard way, what one piece of advice would you give your younger self?
Just to trust myself. I'm really all about life is the journey. I think I needed to go through that process to get to where I am now. Yeah. So I don't think we can speed up the process as much as we want to. Right. And so just to continue trusting myself.
Was your career so far, so how many years now have you been in the business of photography? And was it all smooth sailing?
So my business, Voth Photography, has been in business for over 15 years, which is just mind-blowing to me. No, it definitely was not smooth sailing. There's been many, many bumps in the road. But those bumps in the road, I think, get you to where you're going to be. I'm trying to think of an example of a bump in the road. So throughout myself and my partner building the business, there's been moments where we both have worked full-time and we're doing the business part-time. I think that's key. I think sometimes you have to do that as you're building your business.
Did you find it a challenge to get clients at the start?
No, I didn't. Only because I was working in a photography school at the time. Oh, nice. So I had finished my degree, and then I continued and did a diploma in a professional photographer school. And so I was in that environment. So that allowed me to connect with people. Right. And meet people and find out who needs what and kind of start building the business at the time. So I was pretty lucky that way.
Right. So what kind of photography do you do? I know you do family portraits, obviously. What other types of photography do you do?
Luke Mankus is a realtor with RE/MAX Kelowna. He loves what he does. We asked Luke if he had any regrets about moving here in 2011, and he always says, yeah, one regret, and that is he didn't move here sooner. When Luke came here, he didn't know anyone. He didn't know the neighborhoods or anything or anyone besides his daughter, who was 6 years old at the time. So he knows what it's like. Now, he's an expert and has helped well over 100 single people, couples, families, and investors with their real estate needs in the Okanagan. If you're new to our beautiful city, Luke can help you get connected with great lawyers, dentists, carpenters, landscapers, swimming pool installers, you name it. And whether you're new to Kelowna or not, Luke knows real estate. He can help you find a great property, negotiate a good deal, and hold your hand all the way through the process until the day you get your shiny new set of keys. Luke is known as a no-pressure kind of guy. He's had clients where it took even a year or more to get them into a property. He just doesn't believe in rushing things. On the other hand, when you decide it's time to act, he's diligent, and he'll work day and night until the job is done. Give Luke Mankus a call or a text message at any time. 778-215-4273. Again, that's 778-215-4273. 778-215-4273. To chat with Luke about real estate.
I don't want to say all, but I do a lot. I do a variety. Weddings, events, portraits, a lot of commercial products. We're starting to build a grad portrait business, which is going quite well, and it's pretty exciting because it can flow throughout the year. One of our goals in the last few years is to balance out things so that we're not shooting all summer long, so that we can actually enjoy living in the Okanagan. Right. And that's actually starting to happen, and it's quite exciting. What else am I missing? Architecture. That is one of my favorites and one of my passions. So it's exciting to see that side of things growing as well.
Tell us a little more specifically which aspects do you love of the business, and which do you find maybe more challenging? I had another photographer, and she said she really doesn't like weddings because it's kind of chaotic, and you've got kids running around and stuff, but some people love doing weddings. So tell us which your favorites.
I have a few favorites for a few reasons. I do love weddings. I love the fact that it can cover everything that I do. I'm documenting an event that's happening. I'm capturing moments, so it can be very photojournalistic. There's also opportunities to photograph details, so there's some product stuff happening there too. I have to say, though, my favorite is working with people and telling stories. So I did a recent job for a local magazine, and they had written the story about this person and then hired me to come in and do portraits of them, but portraits in their environment. So he was a agriculturalist, and he works in the local orchards. And so, of course, we met and photographed him in his office, and that's fine. That's one aspect of what he does. And then we went out to the orchards, and I could see his excitement rise about telling me what he was doing. I learned so much about the orchards and was able to document what was happening, and that was my absolute favorite.
That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. Do you do any video, or is it all still photos?
Currently, it's all still photos. We are slowly starting to break into a bit of film. It's a whole different ballgame.
So I think we tend to attract the clients that reflect us. So tell us a little bit about your the way you think about business and your clients and your favorite client.
I love meeting people, so it's hard to pin down a favorite client. I have certain types of gigs that I like. I have the process that I like, but I totally agree. I think we completely attract basically kind of who we are.
Right.
And so it makes it easy to work with people who are kind of similar mindset too.
Right.
And that's my favorite. That doesn't always happen, but I think it does happen most of the time. I just get excited when I'm working with people that are excited about what they're doing as well.
So tell us, there's a lot of photographers in Kelowna and in the Okanagan. There's tons, and you can understand why, because it's so scenic and beautiful, and there's a lot of beautiful humans as well. But what makes you unique among all your competitors?
Again, I was thinking a lot about that, and I think it just ties back to being who you are. So my personality, my style, how I work, my process is, I think, what makes me unique and makes my business unique. So what I really try to do is when I'm meeting with clients is to have a great initial meeting, to know that there's a connection there. And if there's not, then maybe we're not best suited to work together, and maybe they're better suited with another local photographer, which is fine. I mean, I can't shoot all the jobs, and I don't want to do all the jobs. Right. I want to work as a community together.
It sounds like you like to have a conversation with people before you start shooting. So you don't just show up somewhere and start shooting. You want to have a conversation about what are they trying to accomplish. So if someone wanted to become a photographer, my daughter, Olivia, who you met, she loves it. She's always got her camera with her. But I know the business is very competitive. What would you tell someone, a young person who was thinking of getting into the business?
I would say probably what most photographers say is like just keep shooting, keep meeting people, do things that maybe aren't what you think you want to do. So I never thought I would do weddings when I was in photography school, ever. I was all about architecture. But once I kind of figured out that maybe I can do weddings in my style and I can work with people that are similar to me, then I loved it. So just keep doing what you love, but also try different things.
I'd like to put you on the spot now. And can you think of one person in the city of Kelowna, off the top of your head, that you find to be a fascinating person and that you would love to see come on the show in the future?
Yes, definitely. Christina Ferreira of Impact Events. She's amazing. She does so many local events. I work with her on a lot of different ones. And she does a lot of different types of events and a lot of different stuff. She's definitely someone you should talk to.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. So if someone is interested in talking to you about photography or seeing some of your work, do you have a website or Instagram?
All of it. My website is vothphotography.com. My Instagram is @vothphoto. My Twitter is at Voth Photography. Basically, Google Voth Photography, you will find me.
Great.
And email's great for me because I'm not always in my office as a photographer. I'm usually on location shooting.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time today. It went quickly, but we got to know you a little bit better, and I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Great. No, thank you. This has been a wonderful opportunity.